Thomas Sowell is not the expert economist with the answers. The one thing that's coming clear with all the chaos that's happening is that philosophy is becoming more important now than it's ever been. A lot of the philosophies that we see on the internet, especially the free speech crowd, one of the biggest thinkers that is cited in this movement is Thomas Sowell. And usually, Thomas Sowell is used to argue in favor of not doing much in terms of social programs to address societal problems. He does a lot to say that things like any kinds of social supports like welfare and things like that were all like democratic conspiracies that were only there to bring people further down, and also that most of the poverty that we see today comes as a result of the lack of character and the laziness that developed the social programs and the social safety net that came following segregation. So he makes a lot of arguments about how people were in the black community had higher marriage rates and low divorce rates and less children born out of wedlock and all these statistics that he rattles off. So as far as he's concerned, it was everybody was working, because he's also one of the people that is completely against minimum wage. So he says all these people were working, they were able to get a job that was super low wage and use that job to get experience, and then people would be willing to take a chance on them. But that's bullshit. What he neglects is that same time period where he's thinking that people became lazy and became dependent on social and, became dependent on safety nets. During that same time period, the manufacturing capabilities of the United States were being shipped overseas. So what he says is that people became lazy, but the truth is that the jobs went overseas. So he gives a very simple explanation that absolves the whole society of any responsibility in trying to fix what's broken in society. But he's only able to do that by neglecting completely half of the story. So in any of his descriptions, none of his descriptions will include the shifting of society from a manufacturing orientation to a service orientation. He never speaks of this. The only thing he speaks of is the growth in welfare recipients. But if you're missing the piece about the jobs going overseas at the same time period, then you might as well be lying. But anyone who wants to promote the libertarian ideals of cutting programs and moving towards austerity, everybody lock themselves in their own individual castles, he can support a view like that with his argument, but not if he was looking at the whole picture. He's cheating to make his point. So, and something really interesting when you look at how he's cited, it's the people that are upset saying that like the left is playing identity politics and all this stuff. If you go to these right-wing guys, when they have a black person, it's Thomas Sowell or some follower of Thomas Sowell. So they do accept black people, but ones that speak in a really specific way. Although they would say that they actually are doing the opposite, that they are non-biased at all, that they want to have a diversity of ideas, and if that ends up being a diversity of peoples as well, then it ends up being that. But the story he tells is only half the story. but he gives you like a full packaged concept that you can run with. So, you can learn all his ideas very quickly, right? And then you can produce people like Candace Owens or Larry Elder, you know, you can do it in an afternoon. Thomas Sowell is not the expert economist with the answers. He's someone who tells half of the story, which is the emergency measures that were put into place to soften the blow of transition from manufacturing to service industry. But he neglects the major decrease in the job market. So, put simply, the time that he's describing, there were all kinds of jobs available here. And the time that he's saying when people went to welfare, that's when all the jobs went overseas. Or that's when it reached the critical mass of them going overseas. All right? So that's that for now. I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Peace.